There's never enough time. I ended up being a bit pinched. Honestly, I felt in that preparation period that maybe I'd made a mistake. A couple of times, my character even looks directly into camera and says things like, "You shouldn't be watching this." There's never enough time. I ended up being a bit pinched. I only had about 6 weeks from the last project, and I had to have a little bit of time to decompress from that. But I was really terrified. Honestly, I felt in that preparation period that maybe I'd made a mistake. It just seemed impossibly bleak and dark to me as I started to read more and more about Ed. But what I did was I read everything. I read all the books. I think I read every book that's ever been written about Ed Gein, and I read all of the court transcripts and all of his medical records and just everything I could to be able to put together this objective viewpoint that then I could construct my own opinion of who he was from. But it really was because I signed on to this without reading any scripts. And so it was really what ameliorated that fear to the point where it became possible again, because it seemed impossible for a second, was reading the script and Ryan's perspective and being reminded of the story that he wanted to tell, and that we weren't going to get bogged down or be really focusing too heavily on what Ed did. We're really going to be telling the story of why he did what he did. I think he's a genius. I think he and Ian together are two completely whacked out, brilliant storytelling minds at their height of their powers. And what's so amazing about storytelling, because we've all seen a lot of stories be told and on screen at this point, is just how unexpected it always is, and how radically the perspective will shift. I mean, one of the things that I love about this franchise and what Ryan does is ask the question within this, who is the monster? Very clearly, the answer would be Ed Gein from the outside, but then he poses the question within the show, is Alfred Hitchcock the monster or Toby Hooper? Because Ed Gein was a boy who was a victim of abuse and living in isolation with undiagnosed mental illness. Was he the monster? Definitely he did despicable things. Or does some of the fault for society at large fall with these filmmakers that sensationalized his life for entertainment and darkened the global psychology in the process? And it's like, and within that, ask the question is like, what if the consequence of looking at images like this and seeing these stories and why we're drawn to tell them and why people are drawn to watch them? And we sort of fearlessly, Ryan fearlessly turns that lens on himself. And a couple of times my character even looks directly into camera and says things like, "You shouldn't be watching this," or "You're the one that can't look away," and sort of challenges us all collectively as to like, what is the function of this?